I really wish Google Chrome would show me what I'm sharing.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
always like crossing my fingers. I'm like, I hope I'm sharing the right thing.
Looks
I guess people will tell me if I'm not.
good. Right.
So do you see my like title slide here?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. So the purpose of this workshop is to put together a free quiz to use as a lead magnet. And it's a highly effective lead generator for a variety of reasons. We're going to go through them, but I had a great time putting together like templates and quizzes for some of my clients, and I wanted to share this. So basically, you're in the right place if you're having trouble growing your list. You know that having an email list is really important for your business. You've wasted a lot of time trying to like use tools and all the like Canva and make something like a checklist or another freebie, and it's not converting. And you want a lead magnet that kind of does the work for you. The thing that's great about a quiz is if you do it right, it kind of does all the work. People will share it. You don't have to promote it as hard as you would a regular lead magnet. People will get it out for you. If you're kind of in a hurry to start building that list and getting clients and stuff like that, a quiz is generally, if you do it right, play your cards right, strategize and plan it well, a quiz will help you with this. So here's what we're going to cover in this workshop. Basically, why you need an email list. I really hope that if you're here, you already know why email is really important, why a quiz is a great lead magnet, the tools that you're going to need to create this quiz, and specifically if you want to do it for free using tools you already have, there's a few tricks that I'll show you. And then 6 steps to using the quiz as a lead magnet. So it's just a very specific process of how to create the quiz for your lead magnet. And then the 3 things that you have to do after you create your quiz. So again, why you need an email list. Again, I hope if you're here, you already have an email list started or you know why it's important, but I'll just go through it real quick. By law, we have to get people's permission to email them. We have to give them a way to unsubscribe, and we have to tell them where we're sending emails from. We can't just use our Comcast email or Gmail to send out emails. It's against the law. So we need to have an email service provider that we use to grow our list. We need an email list because we can't depend on social media to grow our audience. We're at the mercy of the algorithm. And, we don't have the reach that we would have with email. And you don't own social media, right? You own your email list. You can send them emails at any time. You can take that list with you if you go to a different service provider. It's yours. And then so really converting clients. A lot of people think that they post a lot of stuff on social media. Sales will just show up in DMs and it's that easy. But a lot of times, converting your traffic from your website into buyers and clients requires kind of what I call the 3C method, which is capture, connect, and conversation. And I'll get into that in a minute. So why quizzes are such great lead magnets? People cannot resist a quiz. Like even the more nonsensical it is, the better. Like, which Girl Scout cookie are you? Like, really? Does that even make sense? People love it, right? Or which Golden Girl are you? Like, people love to have like have an association. They want to know how they fall into like the world. Like, so if you've seen Enneagram or any of these things, people love it because they love to see themselves in a category because they think it's going to give them some kind of insight about themselves or help explain why they do things the way that they do. And, it's just why. So quizzes are kind of irresistible, especially if it helps people figure out a way to learn or they do something to make their lives easier. And they're like, oh, I'm an Enneagram number 3. I always do this. Here's a strategy for Enneagram number 3.
I think you a while about this because I've been wondering how is doorbell and no one was answering it.
What is Zachary? Zachary wanted to play with you.
I don't want to play with
But the
him.
boys might be over at Scott's house.
Just going to mute you in case, with the noise. Actually, it does take away a little bit of that echo. You can always unmute yourself if you need to. Okay, so the 3C method, which let's get into that. So I like to kind of consider getting clients is like getting married, right? So you don't propose on the first date. You kind of have to date them. So how do you actually, get to the point to get to know people? You kind of have to capture the lead, right? You have to build a connection, right? So think of like getting your leads to opt into your email list is like asking them for a date. When they hand over their email, they're kind of saying, okay, I'm interested in you and what you have to offer. I want to know how you can help me, right? So once they've joined your list, it's your job to call them after the first date, but please don't wait 3 days, okay? So the second C is connect, and that's when you send that follow-up nurture sequence. So while they still have your lead magnet and your brand fresh in their mind, this is the perfect opportunity for you to start to build that relationship with them. So you need to craft and put together a nurture sequence that follows up, that really does demonstrate your expertise and explains why you can help them. How are you, the big thing is what's in it for me, right? So you need to do in this nurture sequence, it's not about selling, it's about connecting. Okay, so we're not coming in with sales, we're not coming in with pitches, you're demonstrating and you're offering a lot of value. Okay. So once you've nurtured your list or your new subscribers and you've developed that connection.
Can I ask a question quick?
Sure.
Sorry. So like when you say don't sell something in the nurture sequence, like at the end of my nurture sequence, I talk about, discovery calls, right? And how I would love to do a discovery call with them. Is that not appropriate during the nurture sequence?
No, I think that's fine. It's when you're pitching like a sale, you're asking for, and I'm not saying you can't ever do this, but you have to really know your audience pain point. You have to understand that when people come into your funnel, not everyone's going to be at the same place. And this is actually why a quiz is really helpful, because it helps you know, okay, so certain people come in, they need more education than others. Some people come in, they are looking for help. They're like, yes, help me. I will take my money. Please, I need a solution, right? So it's helpful for you to know which people are where. In a quiz, you can actually ask a question. It says, how ready are you to take the next step? How ready are you to invest in a solution or a coach or something to help you get results? And that can actually be, your big question for your quiz that tells you exactly how to nurture them when they come into your funnel. So, I mean, that's a really good question. So when I say nurture, I'm not saying you can't ever sell, but you're not coming in hot with like the first email is. Some people do this, and honestly, there's more than one way to do it. I would recommend being kind of coming in with value, because more often than not, the people who are coming into your funnel need more nurturing than not. So the ones who are coming in saying, yes, help me, that's going to be a very small percentage. Most people coming in, opted in for your lead magnet, they're symptom aware, they're not problem aware, they're not solution aware. That nurture sequence is a good way for you to demonstrate and kind of educate them to get them to the point of understanding you have this symptom. It is most likely due to this problem. This solution can help this problem. I offer this solution, right? So that's my recommendation. You'll obviously see when you sign up for different emails, like I sign up for lead magnets all the time because I like to see how other companies, other businesses, do their nurture and do their opt-in sequences. Some do. Some will offer you something like right off the bat, like a tripwire. So that's when you get a sales page on your lead magnet confirmation page. So here, like they're saying here, thanks for opting into for this free thing, but hey, if you want to take the next step and you really want because you opted in for this, I think you're really going to like this other thing, and it's only $17. Like it's a very it's like the gateway purchase. Like if you buy this cheap thing, odds are you're going to buy something else from them.
Yeah.
You know, and that actually may trigger a different sequence from them. So if you buy the Tripwire, you go down a different sequence. If you don't, you get, you know, the slow funnel sequence versus the fast funnel. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
So the answer is, it depends. And I like to err on the side of caution and play the odds, because odds are people aren't coming in ready to buy. That's what I base my recommendation on. So when we talk about this nurture sequence, you know, we've started the conversation, and hopefully you've asked them a question, you know, do something that kind of gets them to respond to your email and gets some kind of input from them, so that you feel like you are having a conversation. So let's go back to, right. So if you've done this right, you've nurtured your leads. Now you can have the conversation where you can invite them into some kind of either a discovery call or, you know, your webinar or something. It's really that first step to making a sale or booking them as a client. But again, this nurture sequence is really important, because you can't really increase your odds of getting them into your program if you never get a chance to show them how you can help them, right? So that nurture sequence has testimonials, it might have case studies and things like that to help educate them. So if you aren't capturing leads with a lead magnet and you don't have this nurture sequence, you're not going to be able to build trust, and you'll never be able to pop the question to your potential client, right? Will you be my client? This is really tiny. I don't know if you can read this, but quizzes are incredibly popular right now, and it's considered interactive content. And 45, I just put some statistics up here to show you how popular quizzes are, how important they are to your business, how much they can help. So this is actually, I'll just go through it real quick. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but so 45% of marketers, and these are people who do marketing for a living, rate their interactive content as either extremely or very effective. And that interactive content includes assessment, calculators, quizzes, or contests. So anything where you're getting your user to kind of participate and not just download something. So the majority of the users who participated in the survey agreed that interactive content provides numerous benefits, and that 81% agreed that interactive content grabs the attention. 79 agreed that content enhances the retention of brand messaging when it's combined with traditional marketing tactics. So that's that nurture sequence and all the other stuff that comes after. 79% agreed that interactive content can have reusable value, resulting in repeat visitors and multiple exposures, right? So you might have people coming in to take a quiz multiple times, getting different results, and this just reinforces your brand identity. 75% agreed that non-gated interactive content, that means they don't have to sign up before they take it, can provide a sample of the brand, resulting in a higher degree of lead nurturing, right? So the more likely they are to, you know, when they take this quiz, they're more likely to stick around and read that nurture sequence that comes after the quiz. And 67% agreed that interactive content provides valuable ways to repurpose your existing content. So if you already have blog posts or you have any other free content on your site, use that to create your quiz. And then 66% agreed that audience engagement increased since they started using interactive content. So there you go. Can't argue with statistics, right? So here's my case study, which is Kathy of veginspired.com. So Kathy put together a quiz using Kartra and using the strategy that I recommended. And she runs a whole foods plant-based recipe blog, and she's going to be launching a coaching program. She knows she really needs to grow her list before she does this. So she created a quiz called Which Veggie Are You? Kathy launched her quiz and got 30 new subscribers in one day. I haven't followed up with her to see how many more she's gotten, but that one day she couldn't believe she got 30 subscribers in one day. She just kept messaging me with the number. It's like, oh, I'm up to this many, I'm up to this many, I'm up to this many. And then her follow-up was she offered a free 7-day meal plan for anybody who took the quiz. And then she funneled them into her nurture sequence. And then when she launches her program, she's going to have a nice, big, juicy list to promote her program to. So let's get into the tools that you're going to need to create your quiz. We are going to need an email service provider. I use and I recommend Kartra. But if you're just starting out and you're on a budget, you can use MailerLite for free, up to 1,000 subscribers. Or if you have a little bit of a budget, I would say it's worth it to invest in something like ActiveCampaign, which is $9 a month to start, and it has better usability, in my opinion, and my experience, than MailerLite, which is, it's free, but I'm going to say you kind of get what you pay for. You're also going to need a page builder. You can use Kartra for this if you have it, or WordPress, or Squarespace if you have any of those services already for your business. You will also need a free Interact account. I think the URL is tryinteract.com. I'll have to check on that. We'll look at it in a minute, so I'll just double check that. So Interact is basically the meat of your quiz. It's going to be the questions where you put together your responses and your outcomes. It does all the heavy lifting of the quiz content, and then we build kind of the framework around it with our page builder. And now you'll notice if you go to the Interact webpage and you look at the free version, but you see there's 4 options, right? There's free, there's light, growth, and pro. So you can actually stick with free, and you'll see in the options, it doesn't collect emails, and it doesn't integrate natively in the free version. But it doesn't matter because we have a workaround. So what we're going to do is at the end of the quiz that we build and Interact, we're going to redirect it to our pages that we build in Kartra, where we've got our own forms embedded in the pages that we can use to collect our leads and tag them. What we're also going to need, because quizzes are such a great tool and they help kind of promote themselves, what we do is we use social media share links on the outcome pages. You know, if you've ever seen a quiz, like somebody took a quiz and they shared it on social media, it'll say something like, I got whatever results, take the quiz and find out what you are. This is what they use for that. So these are the share buttons. And I use a site called Add to Any, and it's free. And then you'll just put in the code that you want to have it shared. The last thing you're going to need is a Google form or a survey tool. You can use any tool you want. I prefer Google Forms because I like that it goes right into a Google Sheet, and I can refer to that information very easily through my Google Drive. Now, if you're saying to me, so the whole point of the Google form and the survey is to find out pain point information. And if you're going to say, you know what, I already know what that is, you know, I already know their pain points. They want to feel better, have better digestion, more energy, lose weight, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know that you think you know, but in order to create a great quiz, you have to really be sure. So what I would like for you to do today is go back in time and put yourself into your ideal client's shoes. And I want you to forget everything that you know about your area of expertise. This really requires what I call beginner's brain, right? Because you already know symptoms, you know solutions, like you know about hormone balancing and gut health and all this stuff, but you have to remember somebody who is in your ideal client's shoes, they are at the beginning of the journey and there's so much that they don't know. They are symptom aware, they're probably not problem aware, and they're probably not solution aware, right? Which is information that you use to create your programs and things like this, but that having that knowledge kind of clouds your ability to think like a beginner, right? So you have to meet them where they are, and you have to know in their language what problem they're trying to solve. So having this Google form is going to help you get the language that you need to create an effective quiz and nurture sequence. So if you've never used a Google form, it's very easy. You go in, you create your questions, and then you will create a Google Sheet. So if you see at the top here, you can see, you know, you have questions and responses. You'll click on the responses and you'll create a Google Sheet after you're done creating your survey that says, here, put all the responses into this Google Sheet so that I can refer to it later, and it'll create it, and then it's really cool, and then you can go and all the information's in one place. So here's basically the flow of a funnel using a quiz. So it's going to, and I'll go through this piece by piece. You're going to have your quiz landing page. And I'm just going to show you really quick. This is Kathy's from Veg Inspired, her landing page, right? So what kind of veggie are you? Now this is, I'm trying to think, I think she used their page for this. But if you see that block in the middle with the text and the image, that is from Interact. So she set this up in Interact, and then she either embedded it or she used their page, I'm not sure, but this is where the quiz begins. So then we get into the quiz content, and these are going to be all of your questions with responses. So again, she created her questions that have, she used images with her answers, which I think is great because a lot of these are really colorful and they make it fun to take the quiz. Once you've gone to the point, you've asked all your questions, your quiz taker is going to come to the quiz outcome page. And you'll notice here, this is Kathy's, what she's done is she's embedded her Kartra form in this page. So you'll notice, let me go back, there are 3 pages, one for each outcome. These are all going to be identical. The only thing that will be different will be this form. So this is going to look identical for all 3 outcomes, but the forms will be different. They'll have different tags. They'll lead to different places based on the outcome. And this is what we're going to see. So each quiz outcome tracks to a different results page. And this is an example of Kathy's results page. I took the quiz. I got lettuce. I'm multi-purpose, do-it-all kind of person. It sounds about right. So her call to action on her outcome page, results page, was to download a meal plan. She gave away, her giveaway at the end, the freebie rather, was a veg-inspired meal plan. So double whammy. So you get to take the quiz and you get a freebie. Cool. So she's really setting the stage for helping people eat more plant-based foods and providing resources to help people get to the point where, and helping them see her as an expert in transitioning to a plant-based diet with her quiz, her meal plan, and then her nurture follow-up sequence. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to get to the 6 steps of creating your quiz funnel. So we started with, we took the survey and we said, okay, we need to understand what the pain points are. Not what we think they are, but what they actually are. And that involved, creating your survey, sending it out to your list, putting it in your Facebook group, putting it out on Facebook. just really getting that survey out there and getting as much feedback as possible. From that point, you're going to decide how you're going to segment these, segment your results. So do you want your quiz to segment people based on where they are in their journey, what products you offer, what services you offer? That's something you need to decide before you set up your quiz. And then you can map, you'll reverse engineer your content. You'll work backwards from there saying, okay, if I want to base it on products, then I have to identify, ideal client A needs product A. So I'm going to have questions that map to that. I'm going to segment them I'm going to identify them through the quiz, asking specific questions. Same thing with our 2 and 3. So if they need a specific product, a specific service, if you do nutrition, or if you do, like I'm a personal trainer and I did nutrition and I did training and things like that, finding out where people need help. So if I had a quiz, maybe I'd ask questions. Do you need more help with fitness? Do you need more help with eating healthy? Do you need it with more lifestyle habit change? How can I help you? Like, where are you struggling? And then I had different programs for different areas. So from there, once you know what your outcomes are going to be, you can create 7 or 8 quiz questions. What I would say is make this, keep it quick. You don't want your quiz to be super long. You want it to be fun. From there, you're going to, again, we always start at the end and work backwards. We create our click-worthy title and description after we've created the quiz, because we want to know, we kind of want to set the stage for what they're going to be taking the quiz, what the kind of questions they're going to be answering, and then we'll have the title based on that. Once you've done that, you're going to build and publish your quiz using the tools Interact and your page builder. And then once you've done all that, you've got it set up, then it's up to you to nurture your new leads based on their quiz outcome. So you need to decide, what are you doing with these leads when they, after they've gotten onto your list? How are you going to kind of manage them from there? So let's talk about point number 1, knowing your client's pain points. So you need to know, what are they struggling with? What is the one question that they're asking, right? What are they Googling? What are they trying to find out? Like, what problem are they trying to solve? And what answer could you give them that would improve their situation, right? So how do we do this? We're going to survey your subscribers and your social media followers. You can message your past clients, ask them to take your survey, and maybe you could visit Facebook groups and be very careful with this, the way you're doing it. Make sure you're not spammy and you're not being creepers in other people's groups, but maybe visit other Facebook groups where your ideal client hangs out and ask people to take your survey. So talking about your outcomes, right? We always begin with the end in mind. So this is talking about how you're going to segment the list with the outcomes that you're going to create, right? We can do it by products. We can do it by services, right? So if you have different levels of service, if you have somebody who needs really like hands-on, one-on-one, high-level coaching, or if you have somebody who maybe just needs a membership type, who needs a membership service, who just needs like meal plan ideas or recipes once a month, you're going to have different areas, and maybe you can filter your list based on that. And then type of help is like, if you have different areas that you offer services in. Like I said, some coaches do fitness, some do fitness and nutrition, and some do lifestyle. So knowing what kind of help you can offer your ideal clients when they come through your list, having that information before you create your quiz helps you work backwards and create content that leads to it. So when we talk about your outcomes, right, these are like kind of your, what Girl Scout cookie are you? What Golden Girl are you? These are ones that are already done, but if you're creating your own, you want to make sure that outcome information is valuable to them, because why would they want to opt in for it if it's not valuable to them? You want them to look forward to getting that outcome. You want to make them fun. flattering and positive, right? You don't want to make a quiz that makes people feel bad about themselves. You always want something that's encouraging. You want to make it something that they'll want to share, right? If it's something embarrassing that says like, oh, you're lazy, you're sloppy, like they're not going to want to share that. They're going to want to share something fun. So keep it short, 3 or 4 words max for your outcome. Once you've got your outcome, you're going to create the meat of your quiz, which is your questions and answers. I highly recommend, if you go into Interact, using one of their templates. I forget how many they have, but hundreds, maybe they have hundreds. And we'll look at it in a minute. But don't reinvent the wheel here. There's more than likely a quiz already created that you can tweak in Interact that's already done. So I don't recommend making your own. What you might want to do is edit the questions that are in there and just trim it down to be 7 to 10 questions. You don't want it to be really long. People will lose, their attention spans are really short. You're going to lose them, and you're going to want to just make it brief. You're going to also want to make sure you're asking key questions. So you're going to have one that's going to be the easy answer, and I recommend doing this first. It's also called the no thinking required question. And this should be like an objective, non-judgment question that they can answer first, and it kind of gives them a little momentum and a feeling of accomplishment, so they'll keep answering questions. Something super simple like, how old are you? How long have you been vegan? How long have you been? It's going to be a numeric answer. It's objective. It's nothing they have to think about. What country do you live in? Things like that. The second question that I would recommend including in your quiz is going to be the epiphany question. So this question has the potential to lead your clients to an aha moment about why they need your help. So it's going to reveal some underlying problem and educate them about the solution that you're going to eventually reveal that you can provide. The last one that I recommend that you ask is the standalone segmentation question. Now, this is the question that if they were to skip everything else, this would sufficiently determine their quiz result. Like this could be the only question in your quiz, and it would tell you everything you need to know. So this question should reveal their greatest desire, their biggest struggle, their biggest motivation, and or current level of achievement. So using this one question should be enough for you to give them an outcome. Okay, so you're going to want to avoid some trigger questions. So questions that are going to trigger some lack of confidence, anything that triggers overthinking, right? Because if they have to stop and think about your answer for too long, you're going to lose them. And don't ask complicated questions, because once it starts to feel like work, they're just going to quit. Don't ask questions that trigger stress or unpleasant feelings, because they're not going to stick around for that. They're definitely not going to share it. And don't ask any questions that are going to trigger discouragement, like, pointing out that it's taken them 20 years to lose 5 pounds, or highlight how little they know about something, or how far they are from reaching a goal. It's going to be very discouraging, and they're not going to continue. So remember, keeping your answer choices within the scope of your solution, and your answers should directly correlate to an outcome that you've chosen. So keep them within a framework that logically leads them in one direction, okay? Once you've done that, you've done your outcomes, your questions, your answers, you're going to create a title and a description. Again, we always work backwards. So you want it to be attention grabbing. So you want to call out your ideal clients. So tired moms, busy professionals, teachers. So some kind of call out to get their attention. And you're going to follow a formula. So your subtitle will be something like, what is your blank? What type of blank are you? Or tell me about your blank and I'll tell you what blank you are. I know this sounds hilarious, but these formulas have been shown to convert well. And it's really funny that there have been like some words that have been shown to convert really well for quizzes. And these 3 words are celebrity. Why? I don't know. Actually. So it's almost like they've been doing something, but they should actually be doing something else. Great. They really want to know what that is. Or should, right? Everybody wants to know what they should be doing. You're going to give them a quiz that tells them this. So this is part of the quiz description that explains why people should take the quiz. And if you give them a really good reason, you know, this is where your survey comes in, because you're going to use that language that you pulled from that survey to make your title and your description to get their attention. Okay. So the formula to create your description will be problem, agitation, solution. So you're going to highlight the pain point they're struggling with. You're going to agitate it a little bit and remind them why they want to solve the problem. You're going to describe how it affects their life, and then you're going to explain the underlying problem, describe a possible solution, and then give them some hope for getting rid of it throughout your quiz. So it's a process, and I don't want you to freak out that it's, you know, this is going to be a huge production. You'll see once we get into it, it kind of flows. Like you start at the end, you work your way backwards, and everything kind of goes together. So again, with your title, it's going to be intriguing, and you're going to hint at a benefit for taking your quiz. You're going to use a call to action as your sub-headline, keeping it short and sweet, and keeping it positive. So I can almost guarantee that people are going to click on something that both intrigues them and has the possibility of providing a benefit. So make sure you add that call to action as your sub-headline. And people like to be told exactly what action you want them to take, right? So a sub-headline might be, discover your fitness personality and transform your life. Or should you go vegan? Or which nutrition plan is best for your body type? Things like this. Okay, so again, short and sweet, keeping it positive, nothing judgy. So I'm going to demonstrate this as soon as I get through this, but we're going to go into Interact. I'm going to show you how you'll build your quiz. I'll go through the steps. We're going to use this software called Interact, and they have hundreds of templates already done. And then we're just going to use the page builder to implement, you know, to kind of embed the quiz so that we don't have to pay. We can do this for free. We won't have to pay for Interact to integrate with our email. We can embed our email service provider forms into our pages, and then redirect our quiz to point to these pages. I'm going to walk through this, but just to let you know, we're going to use Interact for the meat of the quiz. So then once we've captured the lead through our quiz, we're going to nurture the new leads and connect with them. So make sure you have something set up to send them. Don't just have it be like a dead end, like, you know, they take the quiz and then they never hear from you. Make sure you're automating it so that immediately once the quiz is taken, they hear from you. And make sure that sequence delivers value and demonstrates your expertise. So once you've created your quiz, 3 things you absolutely must do. One is set up your sales funnel. So you have to know where you're going to be leading them once they've opted in. Okay? And make sure you've tested your sales funnel and for each outcome, and just make sure it works. Oops, let me go back. So make sure you know where your quiz leads. If it's going to be an introductory product, an e-course, a service, a webinar, discovery call, Molly, like you said, it goes to your discovery call. That's fine. Just make sure your sequence, make sure this automation works for everybody who comes in. Okay, make sure you test your quiz before you publish it, or at least before you start promoting it. You want to make sure your tags, your lists, your buttons, your copy images, everything shows up the way it should. You're going to check it on desktop and on mobile, and you're going to review your email sequences to make sure they are triggering properly. The They're readable on your cell phone, on mobile and desktop. Make sure links work. And then you're going to make your quiz visible. So once you've tested it, make sure you know it all works. You're going to start sharing it and promoting it. And this is probably the hardest thing that people struggle with. So once we create something, right, and we're so proud of it and we want to share it, and then we're like, well, how do we do this, right? So one thing you need is a marketing strategy. It's one thing to have, opt-ins and all these different things for your business, but if you don't know how to promote them, if you're not consistently sharing content on social media, emailing your list, posting in, if you're not using Pinterest or YouTube or things like this, it's part of your marketing strategy. And I recommend that you sit down at least once a month, have a content strategy, when you're going to promote what, where you're going to promote it, what content you're going to share, okay? Because you can't collect any leads if nobody sees your lead magnet, right? So you need to put that link to it on your website. Maybe have it in the menu as a call to action, because that's a place most of your website visitors are going to see it. You can add the link to your quiz to your blog posts. You can put a pop-up on your website. You can do what Kathy did and share it in a Facebook group, but just please be mindful of Facebook rules about sharing links before you do it. Okay, you can always share it in your own group. You can share that on your Facebook business page, your bios, your Pinterest bio, YouTube. Put it on your social media cover photo, so your business page. Put it on there. Put it in your personal Facebook business, your Facebook page. Put that as your cover photo and put the link in there. Okay. Make sure you're adding it to your own group, if I didn't already say that. And you can actually send it out to your existing subscribers. So if you have a list and it's kind of dead and nobody's reading your emails, send them this quiz and kind of re-engage them. And once you are certain that it converts, you have tested it and you see that people are taking the quiz, they're opening the emails, then you can go ahead and run an ad. Okay? But I wouldn't run an ad to it until you know it converts. And again, this is probably the hardest part. So please don't, create your quiz, spend all this time on it, post it once, and then say, it's not working, people don't like it, whatever. You have to keep sharing it. This is the work, right? So you have to keep promoting it. It's top of your funnel. Your job once you create a funnel is to just keep pointing people over and over to the top of your funnel to get them inside. Okay, so here are our next steps. You're going to research your client pain points using your survey and create a quiz that's going to segment your audience appropriately. We're going to go through how to create the quiz using Interact in a minute. We're going to implement the quiz using a page builder. As soon as we do the Interact section, I'll show you how to use Kartra to do this. And then once you've done all that, you're going to need to test your quiz, test it for all the outcomes, test it with your page builder, test it with your email service provider to make sure everything is firing properly. And then your job after that is going to be to promote the bejesus out of it, right? So that's going to be your job. Okay, so let's now go to Interact. I'm sharing a screen and I don't know which one it is. Let's go to Interact quiz. All right, so what I'll say, I'll recommend when you go to Interact, go ahead and create an account. And I recommend going to create a new quiz. Now from here, you have the option to either create a template, use a template or create one from scratch. If someday you want to create it from scratch, you have a lot of time on your hands and you just, have nothing else to do, go ahead, do that. I recommend take a look at their templates. They have a ton. They're really good. 90% of the work will be done for you. Don't reinvent the wheel. Go with this. So let's take a look at health and fitness. They have 33 templates in here. If they don't have one that you can use for your business, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what kind of business you're doing, to be honest. Let's see. Click to select. Oh, next step, select template. Okay. So here's just a hand. Oh, well, God bless. They even tell us we're gonna sort by conversion rate. So they've already told us which ones are the highest converting quizzes. They've made this incredibly easy. Even if all we do is we go with this top one, how healthy are you really? Now this kind of falls into, if you remember, I said there were some like trigger words that really were effective in getting people to take the quiz. And one of them was actually, and really is like a synonym for actually, right? So you could say, how healthy are you actually? This basically means the same thing. So what we're hinting at here is you think you're healthy, but how healthy are you really? Do you want to know how healthy you really are? Everybody wants to know that. So we're going to go ahead and say use this template. Now, once we do that, it's going to pop up with our menu, and this is great. So over on this left-hand side, you're going to see we have a little menu, and this is the cover. That's this section here. So the title, the image, the description, and the button. And we can use these buttons up here to change all of these. If you want to use a different picture, we can resize it. We can replace the picture, edit the attribution. That's okay. We're not going to do that. I'm going to save. We can change the font. We can change the color. We can change all this. If you want to make this your branding color, this button, now we can change this color. You can even use a hex code if you're that particular. You can preview it here. Click here. I don't know if that's going to open. It does. Okay, so now you can see it in preview mode to see how it's going to look. The only thing is, if you're using the free version, they're going to leave this little branding, the Interact Quizmaker branding on there. We don't really care. Honestly, nobody cares. That's fine. Go ahead, leave it on there. So, in my opinion, it's not really worth paying money to have that taken off. So, the next thing, I always say we're going to start with results and work backwards. But if you've already set them, let's start with results. So here are the outcomes for your quiz. Again, and this one does it by skill level. We'll call it, category of where they are in their journey. So this is like beginner, intermediate, advanced. So people coming in at newcomer level are going to need a different type of assistance than somebody who's really just, who's already living pretty healthy and might just need some tips, ideas, some check-ins or something like that, right? So you're going to have different offerings for these different outcomes. So what you'll need to do is go ahead and update these. If these outcomes, if you want to use them, you can update them. And then what you'll do is go back and edit the questions. So use these pre-written questions and just kind of go through these. Now I say use 7 to 10 questions from here. Maybe take out a couple, but flip through and see how these are laid out. What's the wording? Does it resonate with you? Is this how you sound when you talk? But go ahead and update these according to kind of like your voice. I have a lot of good stuff in here. This is a great quiz. I'll probably use this one for my website. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. Let's look at one question. So here's how we map the questions to our outcomes. So for each question, you're going to go to Edit Result Correlations. Okay, so this question correlates to this answer. Well, sorry, this result, this outcome. So it's going to score your quiz based on this information. So you'll need to, some of these are already done. It's got the answers already correlated here, so you don't really need to do anything with those. But I would just go in and double check them, make sure they're all set up. once you've done that, so you have your outcomes, you have your categories, your outcomes, you have your questions and answers, they're all mapped, they're all correlated to outcomes. You're going to go to results. Now what we're going to do from here, we are going to redirect, because we're not going to use these pages. This is great, like that they have this and you can use this content, but we're not going to use this page because this is part of the paid. If you use this, you won't be able to capture the lead automatically through your email service provider. You're going to need to kind of, replicate this in your page builder, and that's where we're going to redirect. So I'm going to show you this in a minute, but just know that we'll be redirecting these results to your page builder page on your website. And we're going to redirect them to a page that has a form embedded in it, where you're going to be capturing the email information of your lead. So once that's done, we're going to actually skip the rest of this because this is not, this is for the paid version, because we're not using this, so we won't. Let's not worry about that. Okay, so once you have this done, we're going to save and exit. So this is the quiz. And then what we're going to end up doing, we're going to publish it. We're going to embed it on a page. So what we'll need to do is make sure that we choose this enabled, because what we want to do is make sure that your quiz displays properly on both mobile and on desktop. And in order to do that, it needs to be able to automatically resize. So we need to use the JavaScript. Okay, so then you'll need to select, go through here, fix size. We want to fit the container, and then we'll probably we'll start with the default. And then you can always fiddle with this if it doesn't look right. For mobile devices, you want to select embedded, because you want it to stay embedded on the page. You don't want it to open a new page. And then the cover page, we do want this to be enabled, right? So I don't do this until I'm ready to actually embed it, but what you'll do is you'll copy this, and then you'll go into your page builder and embed the code. So let's go over to Kartra, and I'm going to show you how to use the quiz template in order to, let's open Kartra. Is it here? All right, so let's look at Kartra, and we're going to look at the quiz template assets. So let me go back to campaigns, the done for you quiz assets. There are 7 pages, 3 tags, 3 forms, and 1 sequences. So the first page we're going to look at, that's going to be our landing page. So that's the main page. For our quiz. Now this is where we're going to embed that code, but we're going to create a page, and you can have this look however you'd like. So all I did was put in a background picture of some people working out, and then this is a code block. So if you're using Kartra, you're going to go into here, and you're going to select this bottom one, and you're going to drag this onto your page until the bar turns green, and you're going to let it go. When you get here, you're going to click on the orange pencil icon and click right between these 2 tags, and then put your quiz code, your embed code, right here, and it'll look like this. It'll end up looking like this. I'll show you what this one looks like. I don't have to do a new one. It'll essentially look like this once you've embedded the quiz code, and you'll click Save. And again, you can make this look however you'd like. I only have one section here, and then I check it on mobile to see how it looks. And it fits. Tablet, desktop. Okay, so that's the landing page. This will end up being the page that you promote for your lead magnet. This is where you're going to send everybody to start your quiz. Just for example, here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn off the setting real quick. That's already off. Great. I'm going to show you. So let's assume, well, let's pretend we've taken the quiz, right? So what happens is when somebody takes the quiz, they come out to one of 3 outcomes, right? So the results of the quiz are all going to map to a different page, but these pages all look identical. The only difference is that the form, you can see them right here, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. They all look the same, but the difference is the form that's embedded maps to a different outcome. So I'm going to show you real quick here. So here, once I finish the quiz, it's going to redirect. Remember I said in Interact, we're going to redirect those pages. They're going to redirect to this page. So once I publish this page live, I'm going to have a URL, and that's where I'm going to send my Interact outcomes. They're going to land here. This, if you are in Kartra and you open the assets on the page, you're going to see this is outcome 2. So this is quiz outcome 2 with form, and the form that's embedded is outcome 2. Now, if I go back to outcome 1 or outcome 3, you're going to see, sorry, wrong page. Outcome 3. You're going to see that this asset in page is a different form. The page looks exactly the same, but I'm using outcome 3. Now, if I were to configure this form, let's look at it in forms. Let's see. Outcome 1, outcome 3. So this form, and you don't have to do this in the form. You can actually do this in My Automations instead. But I'm showing you, if you do this inside the form, what we're going to do is correlate the success page to be the outcome page that I haven't showed you yet, but I will in a minute. But I'm showing you that that is saved. We'll assign the tag. So outcome 3 is a bonfire. That's how hot their metabolism's burning. They're doing great. But we just are setting this up so that whoever lands on that page, they've gone through the quiz, they've answered the questions that correlate to this outcome. They're going to fill in their email address, and they're going to be tagged with that outcome. So now I know once they get into my funnel, everybody who has that tag gets offered a certain, they're in a certain sequence, or they're going to get a different product recommendation than somebody else. Another way that you can do this is to go into My Communications and set up automations to say, we can create an automation that says if lead fills form. Sometimes it's easier to do it in automations than it is through the forms, because if you need to make changes, all of your assignments are done in one place and you don't have to go through each form to figure out which one's pointing where. But let's see, they fill in this form and your forms are titled, and we're going to say it's outcome 2. then this is when we can assign our tag quiz outcome 2, you know. So you can set this up in here and have all of your tags assigned through your automations under communications instead of through the forms. But let's go back to the pages. So this is actually going to be, so this is your, we'll say outcome 3 with the form. And then this is going to be your thank you page that I just showed you in the form, right? So every page, every form, once somebody fills in their email address and their name, they go to a confirmation page. This is the confirmation page that they're going to see once they, you know, once they opt in. So to get their results, they need to provide their name and email address, and this is what they're going to see. So they're going to get their results. This is where we put our share icons. This is where they're going to get some information about the quiz they just took and what it means. I'm going to give them some kind of a freebie to keep, to provide value and demonstrate my expertise. And if you have some testimonials here about how helpful this Jumpstart guide is, you know, that's always a plus. So this is going to be your thank you page for the form. And if you remember from my funnel kind of diagram, each page, each form correlated to a different outcome page. So you'll see in your template that you'll have quiz outcome 3, quiz outcome 3, quiz outcome, I don't know what they are. They're in here. But each one will hit for, oh, here it is. So your quiz outcome 1 with description, it's going to be the confirmation page for your quiz outcome 1 with form. They're going to map directly to that. Then what's going to happen is from there, it's up to you how you want to handle these leads. Do you want to send them all different emails, a different nurture sequence? Is that tag important right now, or is that going to be important, you know, next month when you run a promotion for a specific program and you want to target everybody who came in as someone who needs to learn more about health, or somebody who just needs a little bit of help, right? So these tags are going to be helpful for you, not just right after they take the quiz, but maybe down the road when they are, when you have different promotions coming up and you know how to target or segment your list and promote to the people that you think are going to benefit the most from that particular product or service. So let's go back to Interact. So let's go back to here actually. So what you'll do is once you have created your pages, and I recommend starting with your these pages, your outcomes with descriptions, edit those, publish them and grab those links, and you then create your forms or edit your forms and set those pages to be the thank you pages or confirmation pages for those forms. Then go in and update your pages, your outcome with form pages. Once that's done and you've published them, and you're going to get your link. Okay, so we're going to get this link. You're going to get your URL. And what we're going to do is go back to Interact. Now I'm going to go in here, and this is why I don't grab that embed code yet, because I know I'm going to be coming back to put in redirect results. This is where you're going to put in your link. Oops, just kidding. This is page link. So whatever that URL is that I just had from here, your page with form. Thought I copied that, I guess I didn't. But this is going to be your, you know. So now when I take this quiz, and I get this outcome, it's not going to point to the Interact page. It's going to point to my Kartra page with the form so I can capture those leads. Okay. The last part, let's see, the share code. Let me grab those again. Let me show you how to do that. Now, so the very last part of this is once you have set up your quiz, you set up your pages and your redirect, forget the name of the, add to any. Okay. So this is where I create my share codes. Now from here, we want to have share buttons. We want it to look like that. And then you can choose the buttons that you want. So I would say, you know, do you want Twitter? Yeah, maybe you want Twitter. Do you want Pinterest? Sure. Do you want any of these? There's a ton of these. Okay, now we're done. Email address, and then you're just going to get the button code. So you're going to copy and paste this into your page, right? So let's go back in here. We're going to go to the outcome with description page. And this is the code that you're going to put right in this section right here. And again, this is a code block. I'm going to edit. Oops. Now maybe for this one I use these. Okay. At any rate, you could use a code block. We could do this. You may have to tweak this a little bit to get it to line up the way you want. This might actually be social share. Did I pull these? Oh, I guess I did use these. Okay, so you can actually just use the social share button here like that. Okay, because what you want is for people to share your quiz, right? You want this quiz to kind of you want your lead magnet to do some of the work for you. But here's the problem. You want people to share from here. But the problem with that is that once somebody shares this, they're going to be sending people to this page. You don't want that. You want them to be sent to the landing page for your quiz, right? You want them to start at the beginning of the quiz and take your quiz. So what you'll need to do is once everything is done, and you have to do this after you test it, because what we're going to do is we're going to set up a redirect. And what we want to do is make sure that anybody who lands on this page who didn't already take your quiz gets sent to another page. So what we're going to do is going to go into activate redirect. We're going to say certain users, right? Because we only want to redirect the people who haven't taken the quiz. So anybody who has not if they don't have any tag. I wonder how many of these you can do. Let's see. So and anybody who doesn't have a tag. What you can also do, this is a little more complicated, but if you want to be specific, like if you don't want people to just go straight to your outcome pages. If you want to redirect them through, you could set up a list so that everybody who takes the quiz gets added to a list. And then you could say anybody who's not on that quiz taker list gets redirected, and you're going to point them to the Kartra page, which is your home page, your landing page for your metabolism quiz. And if it's in Kartra, you won't need the URL for that. You can just pull it up from here, click apply, and then publish this page live. And then what that means is anybody who shares the results of your quiz is going to be essentially sharing your quiz landing page. So anybody who clicks on that, like, hey, they took that quiz, I want to take it too, and they click on that link, they're going to be redirected to that landing page to take your quiz. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that this has answered a few questions on how to create a quiz, why quizzes are great, and I'd love to see if you create a quiz, make sure you share it, send it to me, or share it in the group. Let me see. And if you have any questions on this, please feel free to post them, put them in the group, and I'll be happy to walk through any section that might be a little bit confusing. But I hope this has been helpful.